My dear students of TY BAF, now I am going to speak to you on some important questions regarding your Indian economy question. Your Indian economics is consisting of population, agriculture, industry, banking, money, central banking, and even the health sector, education sector, banking sector, everything. Now, I'm going to take some few questions to you module wise. Let me take the module number 1 from where some few questions are often asked, and in every alternative paper, or otherwise put it this way, even out of 3 papers, in 2 papers these questions are asked. Such questions I'm going to discuss with you through this video and the forthcoming videos also. I'm taking the module number 1, which is talking about the demographic features of India's population, poverty, unemployment, inequality, and others. Right now, I'm going to take one single question, demographic features of India's population. You know very well that India is the second most populous country in the world, and its population in size is very large, and its growth rate is very high. The government of India in 1985 wanted India's population, when in its population policy, it wanted that India's population should attain zero growth rate by the year 2000. This was a target kept in 1985 to be achieved in year 2000. Now it is 2020, and yet the growth rate is sumptuous. Every year we are adding one Australia's population to our country. If the population qualitatively is improving, there is absolutely no problem for us. But because of resource constraint, because of rural atmosphere, the education has still not spread in the rural areas, because of which we are not getting quality population. Therefore, this present population is definitely a burden for us. Okay, now I'm coming to the points to be written on this question. I'm discussing each point and giving some details about those points. I'm going to give an inference. Inference is nothing but the conclusion that we derive from the discussion about that particular point. And our study is going to be in this way. First point is the size and growth rate of population. The size of population means the quantum of population. The census, we are going to rely on census report, which is taken every 10 years by the central government. The census report of 2011 tells that we have 1,210.8 million people, and currently, that is in 2020, it is approximately 1.31 billion. The annual growth rate of the population, which was in the year 1981, 2.2%, and in the year 2011, it is 1.64%. That is, even after 30 years, we have not attained that zero growth rate since 1981. 2.2% 1981 to 1.64% in 2011. So our population policy of 1985 could not achieve its target. Inference. Inference means the conclusion that we learn from this particular point. Seeing the size and growth rate of the world population, the developing nations have very high growth rate and larger size. India is one among them, which means that if a population size is very large and the growth rate is also very high, then invariably such countries are poor countries, and they are now decoratively called as developing countries. Now I am taking up the second point: high birth rate and low death rate. India's special feature, demographic feature, is that India has got very high birth rate and low death rate also. Birth rate means number of children born per thousand. Number of children born per thousand. Death rate means number of people die per thousand population. So let me repeat. Birth rate means number of people born per thousand population, and death rate means number of people die per thousand population. India's population size and growth rate is high. India's population size and its growth rate both are very high because of two reasons indicated. One, high birth rate. Number two, low death rate. High birth rate is attributed to early marriage, universal marriage, poverty, malnutrition. These are all certain reasons for high birth rate. Low death rate, reasons why death rate is low in India. It is because we have adopted welfare oriented economy. Therefore, we improved our medical facilities, standard of living of the poor, female literacy, which all contributed to low death rate. The difference between birth rate and death rate is termed as survival rate. The survival rate is the rate at which the population survives in the country, which is actually contributing to our size and growth rate of population. Inference that we are drawing from this particular point is that because of the high birth rate and because of the low death rate, the survival rate is increasing. Remember, our birth rate is definitely getting reduced from 1951 to 1961 to 1971 till now. Birth rate is reduced, is coming down, but still it has to come down. Therefore, we call it as high birth rate. We don't call it as increasing birth rate. It is high birth rate. Death rate is definitely reducing. Drastically, it is reducing. Currently, it is just 6 per thousand population, which was around 40, 45, 46 per thousand population in 1950s. It has come down to 6 per thousand population, which is very, very low death rate. Okay, this has led to survival rate to increase, and therefore the size and growth rate of population is very high. Now coming to next concept called density of population. What is this density of population and what is the importance of this density of population? Density of population means it is the average number of people living per square kilometer. In 1 square kilometer, what is the average number of people live? It is found out by total square kilometers of the entire nation divided by its total population. And this is what it is giving national average. State-wise averages are also taken. Um, every state has calculated its own density. If there is a high density of population, then that area is with rich natural resources and other means of living are easily available. Therefore, in such areas, the density of population is very high. In 1951, the density of population at the national level was 117 per square kilometer. That is 117 population per square kilometer. In 2011, it has nearly more than tripled. It has more than tripled to 382 per square kilometer. It shows the growth rate of population. It shows that we are using the resources, available resources, nicely, and we are exploiting all the natural and other man-made resources. But whether, uh, but whether this increase in the density, is it throughout the country it has increased, or otherwise in some parts of the country only it has increased? If you say so, then there are some states there is definitely imbalance in the density of population. In some areas there is very high density, in some areas very low density. For example, Arunachal Pradesh has got the least density of population, where the means of living are very scarce. And in countries, in the states like Delhi, you have very high density of population because means of living are abundant. So therefore, the inference that we draw from this point is that increasing density brings pressure on land and other natural resources. It leads to overcrowding. It leads to higher standard of living overall. But this is the special characteristic feature of India. Okay, now we pass on to next, sex ratio. Sex ratio is nothing but the male-female ratio. That is, number of females per thousand males is nothing but our sex ratio. Why we should learn this sex ratio? Because it shows the how much we are respecting the female population, how much we are encouraging the female population for their role in the Indian economy. Now, in 2011, the national sex ratio is 943 female for 1000 male. It shows that female population is not properly being used for our country's economic development. Mostly, we are averse to this female population. We are not allowing them to work, to come out, and also the female birth rate is also getting reduced because of some reasons that we'll see in the inference. But some states have got a favorable sex ratio. For example, Kerala has got 1,084 female per 1,000 male. Now come to the inference. Now why this adverse sex ratio overall in the country, except some few states, is due to mainly two reasons. One, female infanticide. What is this female infanticide? This is when the child sex determination is done in the mother's womb, and if the child is female child, then it has been killed in the womb itself, or otherwise after coming out, after the delivery of a female child, the child was killed by various means, because a female child is taken as a big burden for the parents. Therefore, the elders kill the female infants. That is called as female infanticide. And then high mortality rate, especially female mortality rate. Mortality rate means death rate. Female mortality means at the time of giving delivery, the mother's death. That is called as female mortality rate, which is very high in India. It has created gender disparity, and this is very worse for the country, which is not at all good for the economy, and also certain social uh, social problems they are occurring in the country because of this imbalance in the male female ratio. Okay, now coming to the last point, age composition. Age composition means percentage of population belonging to a particular age group. Our Indian census has divided the population age group into three groups. One, 0 to 14 years, and then 15 to 59 years, and last one, 60 and above years. 0 to 14 years is called as the child population. Child population is a non-working population because we are not allowing child labor in our country. 60 and above is the population which has retired from the service. Now they are non-working population. Then the working population is only 15 to 59 age group population. Now, age composition will tell you the burden of working population on the uh, let me change this. Uh, Age composition shows the burden of non-working population on the working population. As per the census 2011, in the 15 to 59 age group, that is in the working age group, we have got 56.9% population. Out of the total population, 56.9% are there in the working age group. Non-working age group, that is 0 to 14 and 60 and above, contains 43.1%. This 43.1% population is a dependent population on the 56.9% population. And this dependency ratio, that is the number of population, non-working population depending upon working population, that is called as dependency ratio. This dependency ratio is very high in India compared to the Western countries. It is also putting a burden on our economy, Indian economy, because the working age group belongs to productive consumers and the non-working age group belongs to the non-productive, unproductive consumers. Nearly half of the population is unproductive consumers whom are fed by the working age group. Therefore, this dependency ratio is very high in India, which is not good for the country. Okay, hope you have understood today's lecture, and more such lectures will continue. More such videos will be made by me and it will be supplied to you in the days to come. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.